Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ace Advice. I hope you're all doing well. Today, I am so excited for the discussion I'm about to have. I am having on Vedika Anand. I think I'm pronouncing her name right, but she is a student athlete who just graduated from Wagner College from India. So she's going to have such a unique perspective on the recruiting process and college sports, and I'm so excited to bring her on. So let's do that.
Hello.
Hello. I guess we can get started. My first question is, when did you start playing tennis and like why you chose tennis?
So I started playing tennis when I was 6. My grandfather and my dad both used to play tennis recreationally, and that's how I got into it. My grandfather used to take me to watch him play tennis, and back then India had we gained independence in 1947, and tennis was like any other place, a country club sport. And he used to take me to this place that was owned by the British. It's the only place I know in India that has that many grass courts. I think it's like 26 grass courts.
Wow.
And everyone has to be in white, and they have like high tea after. So it's like a very like British environment. So I grew up like watching that, and that's how I got into it.
Oh, that's crazy. So 6 years old, pretty young.
Yeah.
Crazy. So when did you start playing junior tournaments?
So I was a tri-sport athlete. So I played 3 different sports. So tennis was, of course, my main priority, but it wasn't the only sport I was playing. So I didn't play that many junior tournaments. I never knew or had the intention of going to college in America. Not that I even knew that like college athletics was a thing until probably the end of my senior year. I had no idea that it was even a thing. So my decision to go to college and pursue college tennis was a very last minute decision. So junior tennis wasn't really something that I was super invested in. I did play a few tournaments, but it wasn't like most of my friends or my teammates who've done that. They've grown up playing like junior tennis, and
Right.
I was probably the only one who hasn't done that enough.
Wow. So when you were playing, were you playing to like go pro or was it like for fun? Like, cause you're so good. That's crazy how you didn't even know like college tennis in America existed till your senior year.
Yeah, so professional tennis until a very long time was the goal. And to be very honest, I guess I was naive to the idea of it. So I wasn't fully committed to it like I should have been. So I was planning to go to college in India and then just pursue tennis on the side. Um, but college tennis sort of came as a savior to my stupidity. And when I finally decided that this is what I want to do, it was a long process. Like there were a lot of people involved, my dad being one of the main ones in it, and he really like helped with the whole thing. He went to college in America himself, didn't play sports, but he went, and it was a long time ago, so he also had no idea what was going on.
Right.
We sort of just like winged the whole process. But we sort of just worked together on it, and we're like, okay, like this is a good option if you want to play tennis and pursue an education. Like, let's check out college tennis in America, kind of thing.
Wow, that's crazy. So, what made you choose Wagner? Were you looking at D1 or were you looking at D3? Kind of what was your decision or like thinking process in choosing Wagner?
There was zero thinking process. So what happened was, first of all, like I didn't even know Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. Like that whole system was still really, really new to me. So, filling out my NCAA eligibility center stuff, sending my transcripts, like it's a very complicated process, especially for someone who's international. Like the process just gets 10 times more complicated. So I actually didn't know what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go. I took a trip to the US with my dad, junior year of high school. We took a trip to the US just to like look at colleges and maybe meet a few coaches. Who knew that there's so many restrictions to even meeting a coach. So
Yeah.
we had to figure the process out that way. Obviously I couldn't get showcased in front of a coach. I was going through a big injury, so I didn't have a proper recruiting video. So it was just it was a big messy situation essentially. I did visit a few places. I liked a few places, but to be very honest, I didn't have a very great ranking at the time. I didn't have a good recruiting video. I didn't have juniors. So I'm surprised I even got recruited. And so when I came back from the trip, we had a lot more like information and stuff that we got from there. And Dad and I just sort of started working on it. There was a girl at Wagner from India who was playing there at the time. So I reached out to her, and she sort of helped me through the process with her coach. Initially, Wagner said no. I
Oh,
had reached out to Wagner pretty early on, when I was just sort of looking at things and just happened to send an email. And then I sent them a proper, like, official with a recruiting video, proper email. Pretty late, like I'd say end of senior year, I sent this email in March, and I signed a few months after that. Never saw the place, didn't know where I was going. Just
wow.
signed it, was at college in August.
That's so crazy. What was the injury that you had?
I had a wrist injury, and it was actually an injury that was going on for many years. I had a really bad wrist injury, and it took a long time to heal. I was still playing basketball at a national level. I was running track at a national level. So there was a lot going on. And looking back, to be very honest, I really wish that, even though I really enjoyed my time playing basketball and doing track, I wish I had focused all my time on tennis. And I think I could have done even better than I did at Wagner or anywhere
Yeah.
else.
What about tennis appealed most to you that like you chose to go to college on tennis other than the two other sports?
So that's a really good question, because I was pretty good at the other two too. Well, there's two reasons. One, tennis was a passion of mine that like no other sport could like fill that like joy that I used to get from tennis. Like it was the most like happy thing to do. That
Right.
was one. Plus, it's also a family thing, because my grandfather used to play, my dad played, and also my dad's best friend is the number one coach in India. So he's the one who actually like started making me play tennis. All the top players in India are from his academy. So he was a big piece to it as well. So that was the first reason. And then the second reason is sort of just it's a really silly reason, but I'm going to say it anyway. uh, Basketball and track are very popular in India, but the scope of Indians playing college basketball is very minimal in the US.
Right.
So it's not something that happens very regularly. Well, one is because of genetics, and I'd say because the level is just, there's a big difference in level.
So kind of going back to Wagner, so how was that transition going from like not really knowing you're going to play college tennis till like the end of your senior year, going there, never being there? Obviously you're from a different country. Like how was that whole transition for you?
Crazy. Well, I was a little lucky because my parents are both very adventurous people. So growing up, I traveled a lot. I've been all over the world, tried all types of food, spoken to all types of different people. So transitioning to a different place wasn't such a big deal. Obviously, it was hard because I'm thousands and thousands of miles away from home. But my teammates made me adjust pretty well. So I got lucky with the fact that Wagner's such a small school. So everyone just sort of knows everyone. So I instantly made a lot of friends. I was in touch with administration pretty early on. And then obviously I also had like my international department that was nice to have.
So what I want to do now is just you gave me your list of achievements and I just want to say them out loud. So everyone knows because these are I read it, I was like, oh my gosh. So we have you were the 2018 Northeast Conference Singles Women's Tennis Second Team. You became the first player in Wagner history to earn all Northeastern Conference singles recognition with your selection to the second team. You led Wagner with 11 victories and posted a 9-5 record at number one singles. You were selected to represent a team at the ITA regionals in singles and doubles in 2018. You were the 2019 and 2020 team captain. You were the 2019 Intercollegiate Tennis Association Scholar Athlete, compiled a 10-10 conference record over your 4-year career, which is the best over conference winning percentage in the last 16 years over a 4-year span. So, I mean, these athletic achievements are so good. And I was like, so just like impressed reading them. So I guess my question is, what advice do you have for people just going into college athletics, or maybe someone like me who wants to do better? What kind of like piece of advice do you have for people who want to have successful college athletic careers?
I have two pieces of advice. And I'll start with the first one with the whole transitioning into college, and then we can talk about when you're actually in college athletics. So, like I said, I was a multi sport athlete, not particularly amazing at tennis at the time. I grinded like there's no tomorrow. Like before I went to college, those few months before I went, I think it was just the summer I had. My coach had told me, "Oh, I see you in the coach." My coach at the time was like, "I see you in the 3 to 4 on my lineup kind of range," and I was like, "That is just not okay." I was on the court for at least like 6 to 8 hours a day. I did everything in my power to make sure that when I go to Wagner, I'm ready to be on top of that lineup. So my first piece of advice would be there is no alternative to hard work. Like college tennis might be a little easier than professional tennis, but it's just as demanding on your body and your mind, and you have to prepare for it the right way. So my first piece of advice is definitely there's just no escaping hard work. Um, and my second piece of advice is what I learned in college that I'm really glad I did, was learning how to train my mind on the tennis court. It's very important to be able to control your emotions, deal with pressure, and play for your teammates. Those are some things that are very difficult to do. But if you are able to conquer your mind on the court, there is no reason why you shouldn't be beating the top of the top players. And honestly, the only difference I saw in, when I went for ITAs and stuff, the only difference I saw between my game and someone who actually won ITAs was the mental like strength that they have on the court, like skill level wise. Like I don't think there is much of a difference, to be honest, with
Yeah.
technique and skill level. Like don't think there's much of a difference with that, between those two people, but it comes down to your mentality on the court. So those are my two pieces of advice.
Yeah, no, that's such good advice. I'm curious, when you're in like a really tough situation, or if it's like 5-all in the third set, what do you say to yourself to stay mentally tough during those really hard times?
So well, it changed over the years. Sophomore year, you can tell from my like achievements, just happened to be a year that I was able to do that really well, and I was playing really well. And honestly, I was just very calm on the court. I didn't overthink things. I was having fun on the court, to be honest, and it was a great experience. That sophomore year experience I'll never forget, because my tennis was like at an all-time high. But later on, when things got a little harder, junior year didn't go very well for me, tennis wise. And so I saw a sports psychologist, and he was really helpful. And he just said, for you, someone like you, who's on the court and so hard on yourself, just tell yourself that these aren't things that you should do. If it's 5-all and there's something you need to do, these aren't things that you should be doing. These things are what you choose to do. So take control of the entire game, calm yourself, do a couple of breathing exercises between your 20 seconds, during your 20 seconds, and just tell yourself that I choose to conquer this point. And that really helped me. In fact, I remember that was the last game of the season. I think it was senior day. And it wasn't a particularly difficult match, but I had a lot of losses right before that. So to be able to win that one with that mentality was just, it was awesome.
Also, I know this one thing I remember about you is that you really focus on your off-court fitness. And I was wondering if you could just talk about how important that is to just like your game and just like your health in general.
Yeah, so I was a pretty athletic child growing up, but training for tennis was a little different. Obviously, playing Division One tennis, you have to be a little more specific about the kind of training that you're doing. So one is just I love doing fitness. So I had a personal trainer with me when I was in my senior year. This is the time when I was like, okay, I'm just going to be training for like 8 hours a day, and he was a big help. I still talk to him till today for anything I need. He is awesome. So I really focused on strengthening my muscles, making sure that I'm a little more agile on the court, and obviously power as well. So those are a few things that he helped me work on. I guess that love for fitness also transitioned into college, because if you speak to my strength coaches in college, I'm more in the weight room than I am on the tennis court
I love
at
that. Yeah.
time. So when I left college, I actually was in a really like bad place, because tennis ended on such a negative note because of COVID that I sort of just needed something else to put my energy in. So I started a fitness page.
Yes, I've been seeing it on Facebook. I
Yeah,
love
so I
it.
started a fitness page, and I was actually featured by the NCAA, which was really cool. They put it on their Instagram page. And it's been going really well. And it's just fun to like share my experience with fitness with other people. And I'm also studying for my CSCS, my certification in strength and conditioning. So
Yes.
I've basically just changed it into a career option.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember you loved it so much. I mean, that's like perfect for you. Like I totally see you doing that. Like that's awesome. So for people who are watching, what social media platforms is this fitness thing
It's
on?
on my Instagram page. It's called at fit.with.ved, VED,
Okay.
which is what all my American friends used to call me because they couldn't pronounce my name. So I kept that. That's how the name came up. And it's awesome. I've actually been asked to fitness model for an app. So I'm currently doing that. And
Oh
I'm
my gosh.
also going to be doing live sessions for another company. So a lot of cool options, and I'm excited.
Wow, no, that's so awesome. Congrats.
Thank you.
So this question, honestly, this is kind of more for me, but I think maybe other people find this useful. But when you're doing like strength and conditioning, do you focus more on cardio or like strength and like weights?
So it depends. If you are training for a race, if you are a track athlete, cross country runner, obviously your cardio is your main focus. But for any other sport, specifically for tennis, strength training is very, very important. Cardio, the thing with cardio is it eats away at your body so much. If you just do continuous cardio, you will turn into this big. What you actually need is a good mix of cardio and strength. And the reason why I say that is because tennis is a very aggressive sport. Like your body needs to be able to handle those quick transition movements. You only literally have 20 seconds between each point. Your body needs to recover in time. The power you need for your serve, for your strokes, like that stuff comes from proper strength training for sure.
You also do a lot of extracurriculars. You're in SAC, Student Athlete Advisory Committee. You're in Student Athlete Experience Committee. You are a NCAA Association-wide Sportsmanship and Ethical Conduct Committee member. You are the Northeast Conference Student Athlete Advisory Committee co-chair. You even spearheaded a conference-wide mental health social media campaign, among other SAC initiatives. You also have been in the Billie Jean King's Women's Sports Foundation, and like just so many other things. Like, geez, it just keeps going. How do you balance this? Like, how do you balance like being like so badass on the court and off the court?
Well, that's a good question, and I'm gonna go back to the multi-sport athlete part. I grew up like that, and to be able to balance three sports plus academics, plus the fact that I was like a head of sports student body council member in high school. It was sort of just a blessing that I had all those things in high school, so it wasn't such a big transition into college. But yeah, obviously it was different in college. So when I did go to Wagner, my first thought was, I need to make the most of my time here. For someone who's international, I don't know how much time I have in the US. I don't know if I'm going to get a job after. I have no idea how long I'm going to be there. So I just wanted to make sure that regardless of what happens after, these 4 years should be, you know, the most like well spent years I have. So I got involved in everything that I possibly could. And it's just about managing your time, to be honest. I sleep very early. I used to sleep at 9 o'clock, wake up at 4 o'clock and do work, and then go for weights, and then go for tennis, and then study. So I did manage to do it. And after a certain point, it just became second nature. And I just got so used to that kind of a lifestyle that I didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Honestly, that's such a recipe for success though, because, I've been listening to all these talks with like CEOs and like just like very like people who just do very well in life, and they do what you do. They wake up at like 4 or 5 in the morning and they have this like routine, and they get everything done that they need to and beyond. And they have like high expectations for themselves, and like they're always working hard. They're very diligent, and like it seems like you just have like the perfect personality to like just be successful in life, and that's just so great.
Thank you. I hope so.
Just, I guess, what's next for you? I think you're going to be working in San Diego once you're able to fly there. Maybe you can just talk a little bit about what you'll be doing.
Yeah, so well, I'm still going to be working with the NCAA. I'm a part of 3 committees. So I sit on those 3 committees as a student athlete representative, and I legislate on rules and regulations, mostly specific to D1. So I'm still going to be doing that because I got reappointed for another year, which is super exciting.
Awesome.
And I'm going to be going to San Diego, working in their athletic department at UC San Diego. And I'm going to be focusing on student athlete development and diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Like, congratulations. Like, that's so great. All right, so I have one last question, and this is just a fun question I like to ask. Who is your favorite tennis player? It can be both a man and a woman, or just one or the other, and why?
Well, I'm going to tilt my camera up for you so you can see him up there.
I see him.
Yeah, my favorite tennis player is Roger Federer. And I'll tell you why I resonate with him so much is because of his attitude. He's someone who's known for his calm and cool demeanor on the court. And that's something that I really had to learn to be able to be successful on the tennis court. So watching him was such a big help. And obviously, he is the most charming human being on this planet. He's literally a god. So for anyone who watches tennis, I wouldn't understand why you don't like him. So he's my favorite tennis player. He's also my dad's favorite tennis player. So growing up, we used to wake up in the middle of the night to watch like Wimbledon and US Open. So we
I
just
love
created
that.
such a bond. And Roger was a big part of our bond, to be honest. So yeah, he's my favorite tennis player, and I just love watching him play. I'm really sad that he's gonna retire soon, but he's is and always will be the best player I have ever watched for like generations and generations to come.
I agree with you, but not all the way, just because I still am a big Rafa
The
fan.
top fan.
Oh,
You're
it's
a
hard
top fan, I know it.
I mean, I love Federer. Like, I think he's definitely like up, like totally at the top. But it's just like, Nadal. I don't know. I don't
I don't blame
know.
you. I don't blame you at all. I think that for people who do like Rafa and who do like Roger, a big part of why they like them is the rivalry between them too. Like
Exactly.
they are so good at being like enemies on the court and then friends off the court. Like it's such a perfect like friendship that
Yes.
regardless of who you like, the fact that you like one of them is just good enough for me.
Totally. I think that they're like on like if they ever play each other, like if they're like hanging out together off the court. I think their name is like Fidal or something like that.
Yeah.
It's so cute. And like there's this one video on YouTube and everyone has to look at it. It's like they're doing this commercial or like a preview for a tournament or something, and they both can't stop laughing. It's the it's the best video I've ever seen. It's so funny and like it really shows their personalities. Like Federer is just like cracking up. Like he's a lot more outgoing than you would think. Like I would never think Federer was outgoing until I saw that video. And Nadal's actually a lot less outgoing than Federer, which is crazy because on the court it's kind of the opposite. So yeah, anyway, everyone has to see that video. But yeah, that's all the questions I have. Thank you so much. It was so interesting to hear about like your backstory and like how you even like came to America to play college tennis. Like such a like an abrupt like, oh, here we go, like college tennis in America. But yeah, and then you just like succeeded so much in college. And you're obviously going to succeed after college now. So just congratulations, honestly, with everything.
Thank you, Anya. And this is awesome. What you're doing is completely like absolutely amazing. I wish that more people do this. Like it's really important to not only share your own story, but help other people like improve their game. And you know this better than anyone. Like the tennis community, no matter how big it is super small.
Right.
So yeah, it's nice that you're like part of this like tennis family and that you've created a page to help other people and share your own story with tennis. So that's really awesome. I'm really happy you're doing this.
Thank you. And like, yeah, so thank you like so much for doing this again.
Of course, anytime. Let me know if you need anything else. This was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely did. That was such an interesting conversation. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next video.